Hi everyone, I'm Annika and I'm from KRYOLAN East Rand. Today I want to show you some of my favorite KRYOLAN products which I use on a daily basis, as well as a quick and easy smoky eye. For those of you who don't know, we also offer one-on-one and group makeup classes where we show you step by step how to do your own makeup. If you'd like to book for one of those, all our information is in our bio as well as on this post. So normally when I do my makeup, I always do my eyes first, which means you're not going to be doing your foundation and powder over your whole face and then only starting with your eyeshadow. The reason for that is because our eyeshadow tends to drop. It's just easier to clean up that area and then start fresh with your foundation. But before I get started on the eyes, I'd like to show you what I use as my primer, foundation and powder. So first up, my primer that I apply over the whole face is going to be the HD Micro Primer. This is just going to create that base for your foundation to actually stick onto. It's going to make your foundation last longer and also appear more smooth. Then for my foundation, I use the TV Paintstick, which is basically like a little Pritt stick. It's a full coverage foundation, but the thing I love most about this foundation is because it's layer dependent. So it all depends on how much foundation you want to apply every day. You can decide on a thin natural layer, or you can really layer up your coverage to have that full coverage that you desire. Very important with all KRYOLAN foundations is you need to powder your foundation. My go-to powder from KRYOLAN is the Dermacolor Fixing Powder. This is actually a waterproofing powder as well. It's an absolute favorite. It doesn't leave the skin looking dry, and it also doesn't make the skin look ashy. This is a must try powder, even with whatever foundation you're using. If you're really looking for something to set your foundation and also to waterproof your foundation, this is something you can look into. First up, what I like to do is just to cover up my eyelids with foundation and powder. So basically the combination of the foundation and powder is going to create a base for your eyeshadow to stick onto. Okay, so starting out with a flat brush, I'm taking my foundation and literally going and just carving out underneath the eyebrow. You don't want to cover up the whole eyebrow with foundation, so it's better to just work carefully in that area and then blend to the rest of the eyelid. Okay, so this eye is done. I'm going to continue to this eye before I start to powder. I first just want to even out both eyelids, then make sure that there's no creases, and then I will start to press in my powder into that area. I would just go in with a bit of a bigger brush just to smoothen out the eyelids, to make sure there's no creases, because remember, the moment you set powder over the creases, it's going to stay there and it's actually just going to remove your eyeshadow. After that, I'll take a bit of a fluffier brush, and that is going to be used to apply the powder onto the eyelid. You don't want to initially take too much powder. You can always just layer up your powder as you go. So I do tend to concentrate a lot on the socket area, because that's normally where the eyeshadow creases first. So you want to make sure that you've applied enough powder in that area. So some people do like to fill in their eyebrows first. Some like to fill them in last. I do prefer filling them in first. I also have to give credit for my eyebrows. It's done by Marika from Hello Beautiful. It just makes my life so much easier. I have naturally very light hair, so obviously if there's no permanent makeup underneath, it's almost invisible eyebrows. You'll see by just adding some eyeshadow, it's basically just going to darken them slightly, but it's still going to look natural. And for that, I'm just using my angled brush And I'm going to start from the middle of the brow, work outwards, and then just slightly shade it to the front. I don't want them to look solid. I still want my eyebrows to look nice and natural, and that's exactly why I start in the middle. That's where most of the product is going to go, and down to the tail of the brow, and then just lightly shade it to the front. Okay, and there you can actually see the difference. This is still natural, it's just slightly darker. That's about the darkness that I prefer in my eyebrows. So you want your eyebrows to still look natural. You don't want it to look like you just slapped on some eyebrows onto the face. For today, I'm thinking of just sticking to a natural brown smoky eye, which is quite easy to do, and I think a lot of people tend to just go for the natural brown colors, which is a safe option. The first shade that I'm going to be using is going to be this one here. This is actually from one of KRYOLAN's variety palettes. It's just a palette full of natural tones. The nice thing with KRYOLAN is you can also create your own eyeshadow palette. So once you've joined a class with us, you'll see which colors you think that you're going to use most, and you can actually go and place that into a palette which is customized by you, and you can also refill your palette once a color finishes, which means you're not going to waste this whole palette. As you can see, there's a lot of favorite shades here. I'm going to go for a rounded blending brush. It's slightly smaller than your normal blending brushes, and I will be placing this on the outer corner of the eye, so creating a little dot for myself. Once most of the color is off, I am still going to wipe off my brush onto a paper towel and then slightly start to fade this color into the socket, and also going outwards. And you can see it's already starting to become much lighter and softer, and that's ideally the effect you want with a smoky eye. It shouldn't look solid. Okay, so once that is done, I am going to go over to a bigger blending brush just to smooth out the rest of the eye. Okay, and that's what you want. You want your colors to fade out. You don't want any solid lines sitting on the eye. Okay, so now I want to slightly darken this. I'm going to go for this color here. And then if you'd want to go darker, you can also go for a very dark brown or for a black, just depending on what you are comfortable with. I do like to wear a very dark smoky eye, but obviously it's also occasion depending. That's not going to be my everyday look. So once again, same steps. And you can already see the difference. Today I'm feeling a bit more golden, so on the lid area with a smaller brush I'm going to put on my gold shimmer. So as you can see, I'm not going over my dark shadows, I'm staying right below it. Once my gold is on, or my eyelid color is on, you don't want it to stop solid where it meets with your darker shade. So going back to my blending brush, I'm just going to fade those two areas. Okay, then for my inner corners, I like to add a lighter shimmer and then follow it with a bit of a white eyeshadow just to further brighten up that area. Also still sticking to my smaller brush. Okay, so I'm just cleaning up whatever messed at the bottom. So today is my quick and easy look. I'm not going to be doing liquid liner. I always feel like that takes a lot of patience and you have to be in the right mood to actually do liquid liner. So that's something that I can show you when you join a class with me, but it's obviously just practice. I do prefer using a liquid liner on myself. On my clients, I like to use more of a gel type of liner because I have more control over it. So I'm just going to take an eyeshadow, black eyeshadow, and I'm going to press that into the lash line just to define the lash line a bit. You'll see that it actually makes a huge difference. Okay, and that is what just an eyeshadow liner can do. So it's much easier compared to liquid liner. Now I'm done with my eyes. Going over to foundation. Normally, when the TV paint stick is your own foundation stick, you can literally take the stick and draw a few lines on the face and then go over with your brush and just blend everything in. But obviously, we're being hygienic. We don't want to use our products on numerous faces. So I'm literally scraping it off, warming it up on my hand, and then making a few dots. So as you can see, I have redness in my face, I do have discoloration, I do have pimples. We're all human. Okay, I prefer using a flat top foundation brush, and you literally just go and buff your foundation in. And now you can see areas where it hasn't covered, and like on that area you can go and add foundation on top of that. It's like I said, the foundation is layer dependent, so the more you add, the more coverage you're gonna have. It's not a super oily foundation, so you're not gonna look like a glazed donut. Pimple covered. Okay, so I just want to give you a closer look of what the foundation is looking like. I haven't powdered, so it's still a bit shiny. Once you've powdered, the shine goes away. I am going to cover up a bit more in the inner corners. Obviously, that's always an area that's a bit darker, but as you can see, the overall skin is looking good. Doesn't look caked on, it doesn't look creased. Obviously, I know that's a concern for a lot of people. If you do see your foundation creasing in certain areas, it's going to work the same as the eyes. So you need to make sure that you blend that area in nicely and then powder. I'm going to be using KRYOLAN's Digital Complexion concealers in the shade PO2. It's quite a light shade. I do like to use a light shade underneath the eye just to brighten up the areas. The secret is not a lot. You don't want to have a lot of product sitting underneath the eye. That's just going to cause more creasing, and it's going to cause your foundation to come off in that area. So like I said, just use a little bit. Okay, just making sure there's no lines sitting here. Everything is nice and evenly blended, and then I am just going to powder everything. Okay, now you can see the difference. I like to use about 3 colors for blush. So first it's going to be my contour color, which is going to go in this area here, then my blush color on the cheeks, and then a bit of highlighter. I'm actually mixing the gold that I apply to the middle of the lid. I'm applying that over my blush shade, and that also just gives you that nice bronzy look. And then lastly, just some highlighter. Something that I absolutely love is KRYOLAN's Glamour Sparks. It's a loose glitter, but it's very fine, so you don't have to add any glue to actually stick it on. I just like to add that into the inner corners just to give it that something extra. And you can see the difference. So this is the complete look. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you have any other concerns, any other topics you'd like me to cover in my videos, this is one of many. I would like to hear from you. Please drop me a comment so that I know what topics I can use for my next videos. You're also more than welcome to book a makeup class with us so that we can show you in detail what you have to do. All the details of the products will be in this post, so you can have a look at that as well. You can talk to us on WhatsApp too. We will be able to send you price lists, everything that you need on there. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching. See you with the next one.